It's way past time I dispense some indiscriminate justice!
G'day guys, Duckville here. I'm going to be casting a rep today between two Protosses. I know some of you are thinking, oh my god, it's two Protosses, nothing interesting can happen in that game at all, but I'll tell you what, it certainly can. We're going to have a match here between NoJulyNooooo, with some extra O's there. It's a bit of a quote from Super Daniel Man. If you don't know who Super Daniel Man is, he used to be a caster with Tasteless before Tasteless became the Archon with Artosis. Back in the days of the Avatech Intel Classic, which was on GOM, where they commentated some of the pros playing some SC1 back in the day. But now, obviously, Super Daniel Man is actually working for Phomos. But enough about him. We're going to talk about the players. The opponent here for NoJuly, I'm going to call him July just because I can't be bothered saying that whole name. It's so annoying. Is GordRock. He's the blue Protoss up here in the top left corner of Tal'Darim Altar. Now, of course, in Tal'Darim, we do have a very big map. As we can see, we've got expansion here. We've got the third expansion behind the rocks. Everyone knows about all this sort of stuff. But what you probably would expect is a general sort of 4-gate battle, that sort of thing, very skillful, or, you know, perhaps some cannons or perhaps some proxy gates. But what we are going to have here, because of July, is actually a friend of mine. I actually know him IRL. He's going to try something which I advised him of in PvP. He's had a bit of a tough time playing some PvP. Now, as we can see, we got the assimilator and that gateway down on 12. Now, the advice that I said to July, I said, look, you're having a bit of trouble with PvP. Give this one a go. It's actually called the 1313, or early gas faster model build for PvP. Now, you are obviously, as you probably got from that little wording there, you are meant to get the gateway and the assimilator both on 13. But from what I've been told, July actually got this just a little bit quicker because he wanted to just be a little bit safer against any sort of early sorts of cheese or anything like that, or the general aggressive style Protoss, which we do see a lot of the time. Now, he's done that, so just keeping in touch here. So if you guys are trying to keep in touch with the build, I'll chuck down a link for that, which is actually on the Team Liquid forums in the description below. So if you want to see what it actually is, check in the description and you'll see it there. But generally, you want to grab the sort of 13 gas, 13 gate, grab your cyber, of course, in ample time. Now, half the point of this build is actually to make it look like you're doing a 4-gate, but what you're actually going to do, once this pesky little bugger goes home, is you're actually going to get a robo up pretty quickly. And generally, of course, especially on a very big map like this, your opponent isn't actually going to know that you've actually gotten that gas just slightly earlier than when you would normally get it. Of course, with the gas, you generally would tend to get that around 14 or 15 after the gateway is done. But of course, in this case, as we can see, we actually have the gas already done. It's already mining. I suppose if you wanted to get really tricky and very high level sort of player Korean style, you could count how much gas is in the assimilator, but of course, that's not always what you want to be doing. You're busy microing around, that sort of thing. But probe leaves the base. We did see a stalker just popping out of here. He's going to chase after that probe if he can. And we still have July doing a great job sticking inside the base of GordRock and just scouting out what's happening here. What can he see? You can see a gate, a cyber, an assimilator. Looks generally at the moment like it's going to be a pretty standard PvP affair where you're going to have a sort of gateway battle perhaps, or taking into warp gates or something like that. Now, as we can see here, GordRock planting down another gateway, so he definitely looks like he's going to be going for 4 gates. There it is, there's the 4th gate. He's about to put that one down. And now we see that the probe did actually escape. That was a nice job by July there to get the probe out, keep it alive. Of course, you don't necessarily need this to boost up your economy that much, but you do need to get it out if you can to make sure you can keep him around for scouting. Now, as we can see here, we did get one stalker out. We had a, what was it? Did he get 2? No, he just got 1. Did get a sentry. I wouldn't advise on the sentry if you're doing this build the proper way it is meant to be done, but of course we've got any innovation in any sorts of build is pretty cool to do. So the whole point, of course, as I mentioned, was to get that robo up pretty quickly after the assimilator was done. You should have enough gas to get that started, given that you got the gas just a tiny bit earlier than normal. And of course, once the robo is done, you should actually have enough gas to get a immortal out straight away, which is of course one of the massive ways to defeat a 4-gate. Now, of course, we can see that a zealot and a stalker are coming along here, and a probe has made his way down here very sneakily like a ninja and built a probe down here in this very common position. I would advise, if you're playing PvP, check this position or the sort of mirrored position of that if you are expecting a 4-gate. Now, we do see that July's actually grabbed 3 sentries. This is, once again, this is not exactly the way I would be doing this build. Part of this build actually depends on you getting a lot of zealots and using zealots to control the stalkers if you can. But as we can see here, the force field's a little bit perhaps misaligned there, given that the stalkers can just shoot over the top, and then the Immortal to actually dispose of them quite nicely. But as we can see here, Immortal and a couple of stalkers are out, a zealot's being warped in, and a couple of pylons have attempted to be built here. One has actually survived. A lot of zealots have warped in here for GordRock. He's going to be able to hack away at this Immortal. Immortal caught in the middle there, not very cool at all. And now the Immortal is attempting to run through and bust up some of those stalkers, but it's not going to get a chance to. As you can see, this is going absolutely crazy. We've got the pylon down here with a couple of stalkers, and up the top we have a bunch of zealots chasing after an Immortal like it's got a bag of candy, but it's not going to be able to grab that candy just yet, because of course the Immortal is just being microed away just a little bit. Now some stalker micro going on here from July. We actually have a pylon down here at the back, and another one over here has been built by GordRock. This is effectively a version of the Korean 4 warp gate, where you just build a whole heap of pylons to make sure you can warp in. But of course, this is being done a little bit perhaps lax by GordRock. He's decided to stick with a lot of stalkers, which of course will not survive too long against the Immortals, which have been pumped out by July. He's getting a second Immortal again, will be coming out shortly, but still more stalkers. No, they're actually from July. This is a fun part of PvP, is trying to pick out where all the units are coming from. These probes attempting to come up perhaps to block the stalkers, but they don't actually get a chance. A couple more zealots have been warped in down here, taking out some of these stalkers from July. The Immortal just still hacking away at random sorts of units. You probably want to try and target the stalkers if he can with that Immortal, but he's done a good job there. Takes out these stalkers, a couple more zealots warping in, and some more extra zealots from GordRock. He's going to hack away at that Immortal. The stalker dies, and somehow that is a cruel twist of fate, because the Immortal did get away. 4 zealots now inside the mineral line of July. There is no production going on. Look at this tab from these guys. They're all busy microing away, and we'll have a look at the income tab in just a second. It looks as if the action has come to a hold for the moment. July sends all of those workers back into the mining fields, and it looks as if we have a surviving force of what effectively should be what you should have when you do this sort of build, is one maybe 2 stalkers, a couple of Immortals, and some zealots, which will just absolutely rip apart a 4-gate. And we'll get to some of the other points of this particular build in a moment, once we make sure that everything's cleaned out. Not actually sure where all the pylons were, but there's still this one over here. And of course we do have this third Immortal, this guy that just decided to have a smoke break after that battle was going on when he was running away from those zealots. But he's back in the action now, got full shield, so he'll be able to take on some more stalkers. And we'll just have a quick look at the income tab. As we said here, we did lose a few probes here for July. He's down to 18 probes against the 23 of GordRock. He's not actually mining any gas. Yes, he is. He's just got 1 probe in each, of course. That's that weird thing. When you grab all your probes, send them away, and then bring them back, sometimes some of the probes are going to these simulators. I'm not actually sure how that whole situation works, but GordRock up here still with 4 gates, 1 gas, and just a cyber and some basic gateway units. He will see, as we can have a look here with that vision from the Xel'Naga watchtower, that there is an attacking force coming up from July. He's going to be bringing this up, but just before that attack commences, what we'll talk about is this the other facets of this build in PvP, the 1313, is with that fast robo, you can get a gateway out, sorry, not a gateway, an observer to counter DTs. You obviously have those Immortals, which can counter blink. And as we've seen here, with a little bit of micro, perhaps the 1313 can definitely stop a 4-gate in its tracks. GordRock, meanwhile, just deciding that given that the rest of July's units were outside the base, he's going to come in here with 1 zealot. Doesn't really do too much, but now the attack will commence for NoJuly, and he's going to be able to perhaps... No, he's actually had these Immortals caught way out of position, not to mention the fact that these Immortals actually had a lot less health than they should have. 1 Immortal still in their back. There are still a lot of zealots here battling it out on the field. And as we can see here, the Stalkers are going to work on that Immortal, which is obviously not the best way to utilize your attacking, but either way, he's done a good job of defending that. Just those force fields were a bit unfortunate for July, actually catching the 2 Immortals at the front out, and they went down quick sticks. That was absolutely extraordinary. So we'll see what July is going to do now that he's actually lost those 2 Immortals. He'll need to pump out something else, and what we'll see, there it is, the Robo Bay is actually on the way. So This is probably, I suppose you could say, another part of this build which really helps out in PvP, is that early robo actually gives way to an earlier robotics bay. It rhymes a bit, I'm not really sure, but anyway. So this actually gives you the chance to get to Colossus tech a little bit quicker, depending on how the battle goes. Of course, in this current situation, we actually have GordRock going for Blink straight away, which should be interesting, and he's now up to 5 gates. But with that quick robo facility, you can get that Colossus tech pretty quickly. So that's another good part of this particular build. If you control it well, execute it well, and nice and smooth, you can get that going really quickly. And effectively, you can be perhaps 1 Colossus ahead of your opponent. And as any PvP player will know, that one Colossus can definitely counter, can pretty much mean the whole battle, in fact. But we'll see what happens here, because GordRock has now just about got his Blink tech up and running. He's only got a few Stalkers just at the moment. Obviously, he had to spend a lot of his minerals on getting those extra Zealots up to make sure he defended that counter push from July. And now we've actually, given that we still have this pylon over here, he's actually can warp in more Stalkers down here, and that is exactly what he is going to do. Probe going out here from July. I'm not really sure what the plan is with this guy just yet. I think he's going to check to make sure there aren't any hidden bases, but what he does find is a pylon warping in, comes back, says, hello, what the hell's going on here? Comes inside, and he's now actually going to see that an attack is on the way from GordRock, and now the Zealot Stalker and that one Lonely Sentry mix is going to be able to combat what is down here. What have we got? We've got a few sentries, or just the 1 sentry at the moment. A lot of Zealots here. There's a total of 8 Zealots, a Colossus, and a few Stalkers. There's definitely a lot here from GordRock. This could get very interesting. The Colossus at the back. If the Colossus is microed correctly, this could be a good battle for July, but he micros it away from the battle. Obviously, with the blink there from the Stalkers, they get on top of the Colossus. Colossus attempting to run away on his little twinkled toes, but he does not get too far. Stalkers blinking once again on top. But what this has done with the Stalkers out of the battle, all of these Stalkers and the extra Immortal that was there have actually just gone to town on all of those Zealots which were there, along with a few extra Stalkers. And we do see that July looks to be, for the moment, holding this, but of course with those extra reinforcements warping in from GordRock, he's going to be able to bring more in and hold this battle with Colossus. The second Colossus finally comes out, using that thermal lance to blast away at all of the units that GordRock has brought through. Probably want to get rid of this pylon if possible, and then switch around and try and take out some of these other pylons, but we'll see what he gets up to. Does eliminate this one pylon here. We'll have a look and see if GordRock decides to snipe off this Colossus. It may not be the greatest idea, given he'll probably lose a lot of those Stalkers, but as we can see here, more warp-ins from July. He's going to be reinforcing quite easily here now that that pylon from GordRock was defeated. It's like, I don't know, but destroyed. But we'll see what GordRock is going to do now. He may need to be very careful here, given that an Immortal is also out. So July definitely has a superior force. As we have a look on the army supply, he's up to 32 supply is in that army, along with 29 workers. So he's in fact ahead in both particular parts of this game at the moment there, with an army supply of only 18 there for GordRock. So we do see that July is going to start walking out on the map. He's going to find any extra pylons if he can. He's going to check around the natural, of course. These positions here, of course, this sort of area, and then over here are very common spots for pylons as well. So do keep that in mind if you are playing your PvP. But we do see that July is still on those 3 gates. Of course, when you're starting to pop out those Colossus, it does get a little bit harder to start getting extra gates if you do need them, until you get that second base. So we do see a second Colossus out now. Do keep in mind he hasn't gotten Thermal Lance just yet. Personally, I don't actually get Thermal Lance for a long time in PvP unless I actually have the minerals to spare, because a lot of the time in PvP, as we mentioned before, one Colossus can make quite a big difference if you are sort of struggling for minerals. And of course, in a battle, of course, that extra Colossus means a lot. Now, interestingly, the probe's going the long way around this base because of the way GordRock has constructed it. As we can see, he's actually out of minerals at this main here, so he's going to need to get that natural up and running. We did see the Nexus has gone down. It's just about complete, and we'll see if GordRock can head back into the economy. That's probably why he had to cease that attack before. Meanwhile, July has also grabbed his natural. Of course, his minerals are just about gone as well. Do keep in mind, this is a PvP. You are not seeing things. This has actually gotten to a second base, and we'll have to wait and see what these guys are going to get up to with these forces that they have at the moment. Of course, we did mention that July's obviously got the Colossus, as we can see here, and GordRock has just a few Stalkers at the moment. They do have Blink with some nice Blink micro. He could take out some of those gateway forces before they become a problem, and then perhaps deal with the Colossus. But hello, we actually have DTs here from GordRock. That is a really nice switch. I'm actually loving DTs at the moment. They are a fantastic unit to grab if you can control them well and actually deal with them quite effectively here. July obviously was not aware of that, has now walked up. He's going to try and get these Colossus away. This army marching straight back to base. They do not have any way of detecting the DTs which are on the ground underneath all of these forces, hacking them up. Blink Stalkers trying to just run in here, take out that Colossus if they can, picking them off. These guys are like vultures, just hanging off the sides, shooting what units they can. Got to be careful with that Blink. I would actually advise to keep the Blink in sort of a position where you can use it later. Sorry, just got to block off that the chat thingo. But the Zealot's now running away. He's lost that Colossus. The Immortal is the only heavy unit left here for July. He obviously has an Observer out now. The Observer is going to be able to pick up those Stalker, the Dark Templar, and destroy them with the help of the rest of the Gateway forces on the ground, and he's now safe from that attack for the moment. So a very nice delaying tactic there from GordRock, just holding off that push from July, making sure that he had to go back, get some Observer tech, and then wait for a secondary time to attack. And now, in fact, GordRock is going to control the Xel'Naga Watchtowers, which would be quite huge for him. If he can hold that, get this natural expansion up and running, perhaps grab these secondary gas as well, if he's going to continue on this path of the Stalker DT and perhaps even some Archons. Hello there, that's very sexy. He can actually still hold this game, because it's certainly in a good position for July at the moment. We'll see if he's going to be able to finish off GordRock, but just sort of wondering if it's going to be possible, given that GordRock will now have these DTs. But of course the Observers, if they're kept in the fight for July, he'll be in a very, very good position. The two gas at the Natural are up. No probes in this one just yet. He's still got the 3 in that one, but not the second one just yet. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but he is definitely producing a lot of Colossus, and as we mentioned, Colossus mean a lot in PvP. Getting a Twilight Council here, he is going to be able to get his upgrades very shortly. There you go, level 1 ground weapons has been started. Personally, I actually get the Forge upgrades in PvP a lot later than I think everyone else does, because as I sort of mentioned, that I've taken to that mantra of, you know, if you have more units, then the actual upgrades don't matter as much. But of course, I'm sure a lot of you will disagree with me, and that's certainly okay. Tell me why you actually get upgrades, and I'm happy to, you know, talk about that. That's a good discussion. But back to the game, we've got a lot of Chrono sitting here on GordRock's Nexus. I'm not sure why he hasn't used that yet. He could use it on some of these warp gates to make sure he can power out some units, or perhaps on the Nexus to get some more probes running, but he's certainly got a lot to deal with. In fact, so does July. What's going on here, boys? We actually got a lot of Chrono used up to be used, putting down some of it on the Forge to get the weapons out, and of course that robotics facility constantly putting out those Colossus, so he certainly can get a lot of units out. And as we can see, July has decided to take the rocks here at the 3rd base. Perhaps this PvP could actually go to a 3rd base. That would be absolutely insane. I'm sure a lot of you are going to need some sort of protection for your head, because your mind is about to explode. But now that the force is very much built up quite heavily here for July, he's going to walk out here. We actually have, as we can see, supply difference of 97 to 76, and GordRock is even supply blocked. But now we'll see what July is going to do. There are a lot of Stalkers, and of course the Archons can take quite a punch themselves with 350 shields and 10 life. That's a huge 10 life. And they can actually tank up quite a bit of damage, but we'll see what happens here. I would think that July is going to be in quite a strong position. Those Colossus will be able to walk up and down those cliffs. Of course, that's a very powerful facet of this map, is that the Colossus can be quite powerful in this sort of position, just like siege tanks. They can hang off the side, shoot away at some of those pros, but hang on, let's have a quick look here. It looks as if the positioning for July is actually quite good. He's coming to the side here, and we actually have all these Stalkers and everything caught out of position there for GordRock. Some Archons move through those force fields, but now secondary force fields have been placed. Stalkers stuck at the back, blinking on top of these units from July, and they are not going to get through too much at all. The double Colossus along with the Guardian Shield providing a great defense there for July and cleans all of that up, and that is going to be the end of that. So great little game there from these two players. I hope you enjoyed that one. Of course, as we mentioned, with the 13-13, was what's meant to be the 13-13 opening from July, providing him with a great defense against 4-gate DT and even 3-gate Blink. So do keep that one in your repertoire. As I said, I'll put it in the description. It is a great build to use in PvP. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you want to have a look at some of these sorts of replays where I'll rant on about builds and that sort of thing, let me know and I'll do some more of them. I hope they were a lot of fun, and I hope you see you guys next time. Cheers.